Yes, he is 28. Yes, he did not take finasteride. And still, yes, he did get a very good hair transplant result. So then why do doctors insist on the patient taking finasteride after a hair transplant when there are patients like this who get good results even without taking finasteride? This is what you may ask. Well, this video is all about not taking finasteride and still getting a good result and what to infer from cases like this. There are so many variables in hair loss and hair transplants. I have had patients whom I thought were suffering from progressive baldness at a young age and who would continue to bald further. But these patients surprised me with a great result without taking finasteride. On the other hand, I have seen patients who are around 45, 50, in whom the baldness had stabilized. They got a hair transplant done, religiously took finasteride, but when the result came, it was nothing to write home about. So are we missing something? The human body never fails to surprise. Science is yet to unravel all the mysteries, all the secrets of the human body. And hair is one of the most sensitive organs of the human body, which responds even to minor changes of milieu interior, the hormonal balance in the body, and even to minor external influences, just like dietary changes, changing your profession, changing the place where you stay, moving to a new city, minor stress, sleep disorders, and a host of other external stimuli that affect a normal human being. And like other fields of medicine, the medicine of hair loss is not a perfect science. Though several aberrations exist in our clinical experience of how patients respond with or without finasteride, most of the doctors in this field would agree that a hair transplant without the cover, without the protective umbrella of a DHT blocker like finasteride, is most likely not to give a favorable outcome. As hair loss practitioners, we are of the firm belief that with the use of finasteride in full dosage, that is 1 milligram a day for 6 months after a hair transplant, and in half dosage or dosages even less than that, you have the best shot at retaining your existing native thinning hair and maintaining the transplanted hair in the prime of their youth for a longer period of time, postponing the onslaught of baldness for longer and preventing the need of further hair transplants in the future. Since we have so many variables in how hair grow after hair transplant, and since we know now that finasteride is one of the major variables that determines eventual outcomes, it is counterintuitive not to take finasteride. Navigating the rough high seas of hair loss without a plan, without a compass, without a seafarer's map will lead you nowhere. The use of finasteride in hair loss is time tested. The time span in which baldness progresses rapidly, especially in those who are young, leaves us very little room for maneuver. It's a very short time span, especially in those who have had a hair transplant done. So there is no place for experimentation in this small window period. Well, if we experiment, precious time will be lost. Experimenting with drugs which are showcased on commercial platforms, on social media, on various forums, is not going to lead you anywhere. Ignoring a time-tested drug like finasteride, which is relatively safe to take, is not a good plan of action. I get so many patients who come to me at a late stage who have during those precious years wasted crucial time by taking other drugs which they thought were alternatives to finasteride, which they took due to hearsay, due to aggressive marketing on the internet. They repent having lost precious time, because by the time they realized that the drugs were not taking effect, and when they were ready to take finasteride, the condition of their hair became such that it was beyond the scope of cure using finasteride. And then they realized that all their options were depleted and they had burned their bridges by not heeding to advice of professionals in the field. The US FDA approved an affordable DHT blocker, finasteride. It is actually a 5-alpha reductase blocker, has been with us for a long period of time, almost 40 years. We know about this drug so much because it has been tried on over 30 million people. It is a relatively safe drug to take in the vast majority of patients. But there is a coterie of patients in which caution has to be exercised and the drug has to be taken under continued medical supervision. And there is a small fraction of patients in which this drug is not to be used. But if due diligence is ensured and the drug is taken under medical supervision, you can rest assured that you can retain your thinning hair for a longer period of time and maintain the transplanted hair in prime health for much longer, preventing further procedures of hair transplant on your scalp. Just because your friend or colleague had a good result without finasteride does not mean that you will be able to replicate his journey. Your body is different. Your hormonal profile, your milieu interior is different. Your metabolism of drugs is different, and there are so many variables we don't know about. So taking a chance after a hair transplant where you have spent so much of money, so much of emotions and so much of time is like playing Russian roulette. Not taking finasteride, you would have wasted precious time, and this time wasted will not come back. If you lose grafts in this process, grafts are not limitless. They have gone forever. So do heed to medical advice given in your best interest and do not set yourself up for disaster. Well, thank you for watching, and this is the message that I wanted to convey. If you have any comments, please write them in the comment section below and I'll be too happy to answer them. And God bless you.